I don't know how to play Templar. That's... Finally, I can learn the racing. I'm not using a timer, I think. Don't worry, the chat will point out everything that's wrong. True, dude.
Why not
Don't
just
get distracted
execute
from
us
the
and be
chat.
done with it, Dominus?
I mean, if I'm explaining things, I'm not trying to go fast. Yeah, I'm not gonna use a timer because I'm pretty sure it'll be god-awful slow. I'm probably not gonna go too crazy into layouts. Um, there's a lot of resources for layouts, but I might talk about basic layouts. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, let me blast. I don't need W split open anymore. All right. First things first. On Scion, gonna head to bed though. I'll be watching it on YouTube. Good night. Good night, Pack. Okay, first things first. Obviously, you need a good racing filter. I'd recommend either yoinking ties and modifying it like I have done, or I think Havoc has a filter. There's a lot of resources you can find filters for, or you could make your own, but that would be kind of hard if you don't know what you need. Yoink ties and remove sound. Yeah. I mean, Texas Peach is really helpful as well, so that's something you should probably get into. So first things first, the socket colors and links you're gonna want throughout the whole run at least. Blue, blue, green. Green, green, blue is acceptable as well, but 2 blue, blue, greens is probably much better than a green, green, blue and a blue, blue, green. Blue, blue, blue is useful for either Lightning Spire Trap later or Flame Dash, Arcane Surge, Orb of Storms early on. But you can really use like just 2 blue. You don't really need to worry about your Lightning Spire Trap links until later on in the runs. So first things first, we're looking for move speed, blue, blue, green, blue, blue, blue. Some kind of green, green, blue works as well. But any of those 3 are what you really want. But if you can't get any of that, just blue greens. You need blue greens, like that's a requirement. Like you need 2 of them at least. But yeah, so we'll just go ahead and start, I guess. I'm probably going to be going slow, like I said, just to explain things. But yeah, that's the first thing we're looking for is on the vendor from Scion. There's 3 different Twilight Strand layouts. They only vary by like 7 seconds, I think Chip said, from the worst to the best, so it's not like super important that you learn that. And when we check the vendor for move speed, you can just use NN because the prefix for Act 1 move speed boots is runner, so you'll always see that on the vendor. For Hillock, you want to... I don't know the explanation for this, I'm going to be honest, but you always want to tank him so that your spectral throws will bounce off the rock, otherwise you'll run out of mana. I think it has something to do with like ricochet damage, but yeah, this is just how you have to tank Hillock as Scion, or else you'll run out of mana and have a very bad day.
I'll not be joining
you don't really have
today,
to
dead
loot
man.
Hillock in Delirium, but it's helpful. Yeah, it hits 3 times instead of twice. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so for your first gem on Scion from Tarkly, I always take Split Arrow because you're gonna need a green gem later for your Wandcraft. But I mean, you could take I think he gets a blue gem as well, which is also fine. So yeah, we're gonna check for MS. Looking at the links, there's a blue-green. Gonna take that just in case you get unlucky. Other than that, everything's trash.
Farewell.
And then for wands, nothing crazy, but blue, blue, blue. This is okay because you can use this for Flame Dash, Arcane Surge, and then any other blue gem. So I'm going to take that, and then obviously you need Stormblast Mine. You can get your Stormblast line from your Witch run to Hillock or your Scion. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to sell these blue items.
We live, we are blessed.
And you put everything in your stash. I always mule 1 life flask, 1 mana flask, The mana flask is so you have 2 smalls, you don't run out easily, and the life flask is so that you can do a 3-to-1. 3 small life flasks will turn into a 1 medium flask. After title is when I usually do that. Then obviously log out, go in your witch, do the same thing over again.
The dead will
Dark
soon
Moon
rise for
Legend,
me,
thanks for
not
the follow,
against
dude.
me.
This is the fastest Twilight Strand layout, by the way. The one where you just go, I don't know how to explain it easily. There's so much to layouts, so to be honest, it's probably not even worth explaining. But when there's like an indent on my minimap in the middle that you can see right there, it usually means that you go right to get to the chest, and then it's right to Hillock. That's the easiest way to explain it, but like I said, it's only like a 7-second or so time save from the worst layout to the best one, so it's not that important. Yeah, just go straight, dude. Easy.
And I thought
We got
I'd
another
be a dead woman by
blue
now.
one. I'm just gonna keep it for now. Alright, same thing. We're looking for blue, green, green, blue, and we already have like a blue
Lionel's
wand,
watch
so
isn't much.
take everything from your stash. Vendor
What
walk,
little
well,
help I can
vendor
offer.
walk is kind of advanced, don't need to know it. Check the vendor. Nothing good. Not even a blue-green, so pretty unlucky. Already have Stormblast mine, so you don't need to buy any gems. Then you usually take Freezing Pulse early, which you'll switch to Frostbomb later because it's really easy to proc Onslaught with. Blue is least priority out of the 3. Yes, it is. Least priority. Check for MS again and check your links. We got a green, blue, which is good. Yeah, that's it. And then you just proceed on. Are you cool? Yes, smile.
I know that stench. Just like
How
my
do you buy the
sisters.
items while moving?
Upon the pride.
That's vendor walking. It's kind of an advanced little like trick. It's hard to time, but you basically, simply put, you click the vendor, and then at a certain timing, you have to click away from the vendor, and then you'll be able to click the menu prompts while you're not next to it. It's hard to do. Putting your gems in while moving here is second worst layout. Yeah, this one kind of sucks. Putting your gems in while moving here is kind of hard as well, but that just takes practice. But doing everything in Coast before you actually have to kill monsters is important, because then you don't have to worry about it for a while, like putting your gems together. I'm not going to explain Mudflats layouts. Mudflats is... There's a lot of different layouts, and I think it's relatively easy to learn the zone. If you just like look at Carve's website, which I think is PoE Hub.
Iron Ring.
I don't know the full address, but just PoE Hub. Look it up, you'll see it. I don't even know if I got all 3. Okay, I did. You're going to want to hit level 3 in Mudflats. It's not like a requirement, but it's really nice if you hit level 3 in Mudflats, because it sets you up pretty well to hit level 4 relatively quick when you go through Submerged after title. Something. Yeah, you just got to actually type PoE Hub. Is this going on YouTube? It might. Haven't decided. The iron rings are really huge, so always pick them up in Act 1. Actually, always pick them up in the first 2 acts, honestly. I'll explain why later. For Tidal Island, for layouts, it's like there's no set way to do it, but I just always go left. I think most of the time when you go left, you'll have a higher chance of finding Hillrig quickly.
Augmentation.
But I mean, if you want to try to find the secret to it, then go for it. Okay, so we're gonna take a Quicksilver Flask. I take Lesser Poison. I think all these other gems are useless for Act 5 runs. I don't need Portal Scrolls, so selling those for Scrolls of Wisdoms. Okay, so kind of important here. To make a Sapphire ring or a Topaz ring, or I guess you can make a Ruby ring if you had a red gem. You sell your Iron Ring plus any blue gem for Sapphire, Iron Ring plus any green gem for Topaz, and Iron Ring plus any red gem, I imagine, for Ruby Ring. Typically, for the Act 1, you just want to make a Sapphire ring for your Wandcraft later, which I'll explain when we get to it, which is going to be after Brutus. You could use either a Sapphire ring or a Topaz ring, either or really. And then, like I said, sell 3 to 1 for your flasks, so you get a medium life flask. And then, other than that, check the vendor for our blue-green wands, which there's one that's magic, which is okay. You're gonna want to buy Swift Assembly, Frost Bomb from Nessa.
While we live,
And we'll come here to Tarkly and grab Orb of Storms and Frostblink. And again, as always, we check the vendor. You can change the title if you want, Chip. Check the vendor for move speed as well as our socket colors. There's blue, blue, green here, which is huge. So we're going to use that. I'm just going to move my gems around in town because why not? Alright, so we have everything.
Stay sharp
now
out
we
there.
continue. Almighty racing tutorial. Okay, so important thing, this is kind of min-max, you don't need to do this, but either when you're going to your hideout or when you go to the waypoint in town, you want to put your Quicksilver wherever you want in your sockets before you leave town so that when you come to submerge it's fully filled already and you can immediately use it. I'm not going to explain submerge layouts either because, yeah, they're a little complex. The goal here is to hit level 4 pretty quickly. Okay, we hit level 4. I like to do... I'm going to explain the gem sockets while I'm here. I like to do... Hold on, let me kill these stuff. Okay. I like to do Frost Bomb Onslaught with Frost Blink because Frost Blink kills a ton of mobs. Just from using it throughout ledge. It's kind of personal preference. You can use something else. And then if you have green, green, blue, you're going to want to do Stormblast Mine, Lesser Poison, Swift Assembly. If you have blue, blue, green, if you have 2 blue, blue, greens, you're going to want to put added lightning in with your Stormblast later on instead of Lesser Poison. And then you can just put this, put the Orb of Storms with your Arcane Surge.
Chance.
Ooh, Chance
I
Orb,
think
huge.
this ray class will serve.
Other than that, you just continue through ledge. Yeah, swapping gems in that zone while you're moving is pretty hard to do and takes a lot of practice. But if after you do a certain number of runs, eventually you'll just get it. It's important to know like where your gems need to go in your inventory before you even get to the point where you're putting them in, so that you don't like make a bunch of mistakes. I'm doing the ledge delirium. Obviously there won't be delirium next league, so you can't do this. But yeah, just to help with rare items. Oh, a magic blue, blue, blue wands. Witch practice? No, this is my race explaining practice. Chromes are also really important later on for your first Borlink. Navigating ledge is obviously pretty straightforward, right? You just like run in a straight line the whole time. Pick up all the rare items you get, obviously, because you're going to need it for crafting later. I like to hit 7 before I leave ledge. But I think you can probably leave at 6 and be fine if you're kind of deep into 6. Will speedrunners do Farmville? I have no idea. We'll have to see the league mechanic before we determine if it's going to be worth doing. So the goal here for XP... Oh, transmute, that's big. The goal here for XP is you're going to want to be 9 on Brutus, if not more than 9. If you're closer to 10, that's actually good because then you can use your
I'd rather burn than
then you
call
could
such a
use your
place
flame
home.
dash and smoke mine sooner. I'm going to explain the wand craft here. If you have the currency for it, you can do your wand craft before Brutus, which isn't always the case and probably won't be the case next league. But essentially, you just need a magic wand, which I have.
Hello.
You need an alteration, which I'm gonna have after I sell all this stuff. And a sapphire ring, and the recipe is essentially just, you can use any ring here. You can use sapphire, topaz, ruby, but ruby's not going to be good, obviously. And then you pretty much just sell the alteration, magic wand, and whatever ring you're using, and you have insane damage after you do that craft. And yeah.
Take care.
After Brutus, you're going to grab added lightning damage, which I grabbed before Brutus because I had the currency for it, but you don't always need to do that. I'm not going to explain lower prison as well. The prison layouts are kind of complex and take some practice, and I probably won't even get this one right. But yeah, just use Carve's guide, or Carve's website for it. Okay, now important currency things you're gonna need after Brutus. You're gonna need 1 magic wand or an extra transmute, which we already got, right? So we don't need that. You're gonna need 1 transmute for a jade amulet, and then 1 transmute for a smoke mine, because you can't use smoke mine as witch unless you get a jade amulet. But a solution if you don't get a jade amulet from the vendor is later on you'll just take this dexterity node so that you can use it. As soon as you take that. I'm not going to explain upper prison either because this layout's complex as hell. And I still mess it up half the time, as Chip can proclaim. How big is it to find a Regal Orb? Not very. At least in a race, I don't think. So yeah, our XP goal here is to hit level 9 by Brutus.
Augmentation.
Which we are already level 9, which is good.
Regret.
While I'm running through Warden's Corners,
Ignorance brought
I
you
usually
this.
like to just assess my situation on what links I have and like how things are looking. So here I would probably determine like, hey, I have enough currency for the wand craft already, so I don't necessarily, or sorry, I already have a wand craft. But yeah, I would have enough currency for a wand craft even if I didn't already have one. So I would determine if I need an alteration still or more transmutes, and then figure out how many items I need to ID versus just selling unID'd after you loot Brutus.
Pride is trespass. Your sentence is death.
Obviously, if you have a wand craft for Brutus, this dude literally just dies really quickly. Good place to TP to craft wand and refresh Quicksilver.
You're not a so easily.
I don't think that's worth it, honestly. I think you could just wait till after Brutus, but maybe that's the big strat. So priority here for looting is you're gonna pick up all the rare items, and then after that, just the smaller items.
Too much clutter.
Then log out, because if you log out after Brutus, you'll already have this waypoint for Prisoner's Gate automatically after you kill him. Then from Nessa, you would take Added Lightning, which you've already done because I did my Wandcraft. And then you just have to make sure you have all the currency. So I have 3 transmutes, so we're going to get a Jade Amulet. We're going to get Smoke Mine.
Take care.
And then we are going to get Flame Dash.
I've traveled inland.
And then we can check the vendor for move speed again, which unfortunately we didn't get. Then we will go onward to Prisoner's Gate. Goal here is to just get level 10 relatively quickly so that we can use our Smoke Mine Flame Dash. I suppose if you had the Portal Scrolls, you could probably TP before Brutus. So we hit 10, we're going to get rid of Frostblink. Hey, thanks for the follow, Odd Silence. We're going to get rid of Frostblink, and we're going to put Smoke Mine in, which unfortunately... Oh, that's a whole side here. Which unfortunately I don't have a socket for because I didn't take that into account. But for the time being, I'm just going to put it in for lesser poison. Actually, we're putting it in for Swift Assembly so I don't throw like 10 extra Smoke Mines. Then we're just going to go to Mervale here. You don't really go back to town at all.
The sirens appear to be dining well.
Oh, misread that. So this is way off into the future, but you're going to want 2 topaz rings at level 20. So if you can knock them out of the way early, then you don't have to worry about it in like Act 2. Which I already know I have 1 topaz ring, which is big. So I know I just need 1 more for later. Here, obviously, since it's an Act 5 run, you're not going to do literally any skill points, so you're just going to rush straight to Cavern of Wrath. Don't really need that waypoint, but I clicked it anyway. So we don't need any of the gems that you get from, I guess you get it from just entering Cavern of Wrath. So we don't have to go back to town at all. Fortunately, I misread this layout. Or did I? Yeah, there's a couple different things you can do with your talent tree here that I'll explain when I get to Cavern of Anger, I guess.
Creepy.
Okay, so you can take Frostwalker early on here to be a bit safer on Mervale, and on top of that you have cold exposure with Frostbomb, and you have a cold craft, so it's pretty safe early. I don't usually take it because it feels weird sometimes when it delays your EO or delays your being able to use your Smoke Mine. But yeah, that's an option you can always take to be safer early, especially Mervale is like super rippy and a scary boss. But you can take Frostwalker if you want and respec it later. I don't prefer to do that. Some other racers would tell you that it's probably a good idea, but it's really just personal preference. We're going to do this essence because, like I said, we're going to need 2 essences at level 20. Other than that, we just rush to Mervale and try not to die in the process. XP wise, you want to get level, I think it's 11.3 to get the Stormblast Mine gem level up before you get to Mervale. We're level 12, so we're a bit over XP'd. But I mean, that's perfectly fine. We'll just kill less mobs later. So yeah, that's what you need for XP, and then you just kill Mervale after that. If you have Frostwalker, the fight's definitely a lot more safe. Without Frostwalker, you can't really afford to get hit by anything or you'll likely die. So it's just experience getting used to this fight. I prefer to just play it safe and kill all the adds instead of pre-stacking mines on Merveil. Other than that, you just sidestep her attacks. I'm sure most people have done Merveil before, so. I feel staying closer to her is easier, because then she generally does attacks that are easier to dodge.
Poor fishwife. 'Twas. It's nice to see there's still some life in this twitching corpse of the continent.
I also should have put my Swift Assembly back in for that, but
Alchemy.
just wasn't thinking about it. Not the end of the world. Okay, now important currency things you're gonna need in Act 2. First things first, you're gonna need no move speed, dude. You're gonna need an alteration after Chamber of Sins 2, which I will explain what you use for when you get there. And I already have like an insane amount of currency and 2 topaz rings, so we're looking good. I'll just do this essence as well. It's nice to have, even though I don't need it. Oh. So if Den is early, usually you can just run into it and then go towards Crossroads, but if Den is not early, you can just go towards Crossroads, get the waypoint, but make sure you put a portal down by where you think the Den is going to be before you go to Crossroads. So that way, after you get the waypoint in Crossroads, you can just go back to town, take your portal, and then immediately do Den. I should not have logged out there, but shouldn't make a big difference. Gonna take the Quicksilver Flask, obviously, from Yina. And then usually you would just take the waypoint there to Crossroads, but because I didn't go get the waypoint, I have to run the zone again. Will this be a vid? Yeah, I'll make it a vid. I'll just like download the VOD and then upload it or something. Do something like that. Okay, so you need 2 rare topaz rings for the I didn't slash hideout. Yeah, it's because I didn't have the waypoint. You need 2 rare topaz rings, and that's usually what your 2 essences are for. So if you get essences, you can usually just slam them right onto the rings early so you don't forget about it later, which is what I'll be doing. And then you can just like wear them until later on, but it doesn't really matter. Nothing is gonna kill you super easily this early in the run from lightning damage. I guess Chamber of Sins 2 might be a little scary, but quick layout tip for Chamber of Sins level 1. Once you find the waypoint is essentially the hallway you want to go down. It's kind of like an arrow pointing toward the Chamber of Sins 2 staircase. I would have forgot and slash hideout. Yeah, true, Chip. It's okay, we both do that sometimes. Chamber of Sins 2, if you can go down, the exit's usually bottom right or bottom left, or not the exit, the walkway rather. But that's kind of niche and hard to explain, so I would run through the zones multiple times if you're really interested in learning that. Like here I could go down and this is, I guess this isn't really bottom right, but all the way right is the pathway. I probably wouldn't do this normally, but I'm just gonna chrome it. Okay, well, never lucky. I was hoping for a green socket so I could put smoke mine in something.
I barely recognize myself.
Just so I didn't have to get something from the vendor. Normally would not do that and would not recommend. But kill Fidelitas and then log out, obviously. Grab Herald of Thunder as your quest reward. For an Act 5 run, this is very different from a run if you were actually going for going later past Act 5. You'd do something completely different, which I might explain at some point. So you're going to grab Herald of Thunder from, what's his name?
True to you.
Roost. And then you're going to grab Skitterbots.
Go with the spirit.
It's okay, Chip. I got a green gem right here, dude. That's what the alteration was for that you hopefully had after Fidelitas. You don't have to get Skitterbots early, but it makes Weaver way simpler. And it's just safer if you can use both auras for Weaver.
Augmentation.
So the general strategy for the skill tree, you're going to run a rush EO as fast as possible. Because it literally gives you insane damage when it procs and makes these bosses die like twice as fast if you get a proc at the right time. So that's what you should rush. Ideally, obviously you're going to get it a point later or two if you had to get Frostwalker or you had to get the Dexterity node for your Smoke Mine. So that's something that will vary from run to run. Generally for XP, you want to be level 16 by Weaver. 15 is doable, but 16 is generally what you want to aim for safest play. Oh yeah, for this zone, best way to explain it is where the waypoint is. I ran past it, so it's hard to show, but where the road is, always on the opposite side of the road is where Weaver's chambers would be, and on the same side of the road is where Illyria will be. So keep that in mind for later. We're already 16, so we can go ahead and put our auras in, which will be way safer a Weaver fight. For Weaver's chambers, if you can go left, the boss room is somewhere on the left side of the layout. I'm not super comfortable with Weaver still, so I couldn't give you any more detail than that. But if you can go left, go left. And you can go ahead and pre-stack on this like skull of bones in the middle of the room. Flame dash for an arcane surge proc, and then detonate. Big damage. Usually during this time when she's up in the air, I'll just like go ahead and look at my gear again and double check, like make sure I have enough currency for a wand craft and figure out what I'm gonna do. And then besides that, you want to pre-stack your mines right on top of you when Weaver comes down, and dash away and detonate, and she'll die. Then after killing Weaver, you're gonna want to go do Caitlyn. So rush there as fast as possible. Yet another essence that we will do because why not? Caitlyn, yes. So the next things I'm thinking about, obviously the goal here is we're going to go towards Vol at some point. So basically now you're just going to make sure you're going to have your currency for the wand craft, right? So the 2 rare topaz rings, like I said earlier, which I already have because I got lucky with essences. Then you're going to need 2 alterations, which I also already have. And then you need 2 magic wands. So you're just going to need like 1 extra transmute, which I'm going to go ahead and use on my wand now so I don't have to do it later. So I already know that I'm good for the Vol craft, so basically I'm just worried about XP now. Kill Caitlyn, log out. Then we go toward Oak. I don't know if it matters what order you do these in. I've seen different racers do different things. Why are you using lesser poison? Because I only have 1 blue blue green and then I got a green green blue. If I had a second blue blue green, I would be using Stormblast Mine, Swift Assembly, added lightning, which would eventually be Ellie Focus, and then you'd move your added lightning to your Frost Bomb Onslaught setup, which will soon become Orb of Storms Onslaught. Usually you can just pre-stack these bosses to make them die relatively quickly. I usually put like 13 to 15 mines down, and then Frost Bomb, Orb of Storms, Flame Dash, and then click kill, and then detonate. Okay, you're gonna, after you kill Oak, you come to this waypoint, which is usually like right above him, but that doesn't always apply, so gonna have to get comfortable a bit with layouts. And then I go to Western Forest right after to do a Lyra. You don't have to do a Lyra immediately after, but you want to do it either at that waypoint or the Caverns waypoint. I've seen some other racers do. And remember, a Lyra is on the same side of the road as the waypoint. I always help a Lyra in these races. I mean, you could probably kill her, but it's just bosses are super rippy in these races. It would be risky to kill all three at least. But yeah, after you do that, you're gonna want to log out. I usually grab Ellie Focus now and then get Wave of Conviction, which is optional as well. You don't need Wave of Conviction this early. This is about the time I drop Frost Bomb. This is about the time I drop Frost Bomb and put the Orb of Storms in my Onslaught setup. Everyone helps her for the res and league start. Yeah, she's super... You usually want to help her all the time because it's just super safe to do that. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention. You want to have your Smoke Mine on Attack Without Moving and pretty much all your spells on Attack Without Moving, now that I think about it. You want to set that earlier than what I did. I just forgot to do it. So unfortunately, since we don't have move speed yet, we're going to have to either get lucky and find boots or craft it, which I'm going to end up crafting it likely, so I'll show you guys the craft recipe and where it is when we get to it, but I'm sure it's probably common knowledge.
Augmentation.
I am woefully messing up this layout. Eat, sleep, Plowfill, thanks for the follow, dude. Only movement skills matter, TBH. You mean outside of move speed, Chip? Oh, you mean for cast without moving. Yeah, I know what you mean. What do you look for in Vault Temple? You mean for layouts? I'll kind of explain it when I get to the ball here, which should be right here, yeah. Okay, so this layout is pretty... There's like a camel clip for it, which will probably do a better job of explaining it than I would. I'm not super good at this layout yet either, but generally it's going to be in like an S shape or an N shape. So you're going to go one direction and then turn and then go probably down, or you have to look at it a bunch, but usually it's an S or an N, so always keep that in mind when you're doing it. But I think Camel did like a streamable on it that I'll try to find and link it if I can find it. That does a pretty good job of explaining it, the basics at least. Einhar is usually in the Northern Forest, so you want to help or talk to him so you get his help. Will exit ever be the same side as the entrance? Yes, there are cases where the exit will like loop, or the layout will like loop around and end up somewhere near the entrance. That happens as well. I don't exactly know the best way to tell the difference other than just like knowing the zone and doing it a few times. That's something that I wouldn't practice until you're like kind of decently fast in Act 5 runs. Alright, so for XP, remember earlier we said we need level 20 for this to use the wands in our rare wand craft. So here I see I'm level 19 already, so that's pretty solid on XP, and we're actually almost 20, so maybe even a little over XP, which isn't a big deal. What about leveling with Arc Mines? I'm sure that's fine on League Start, but I mean, I'm just like going over the racing build right now, and I'm pretty sure this is by far the fastest build to Act 5. Kitava.
3B.
Ooh, 3B. Actually, I wish I could use those. Caverns in Ancient Pyramid 1 are like layouts that nobody's figured out yet, so can't really give you any suggestions for those ones, boys. Sorry.
The very land learns to heed my
Other than like
demands.
check the corners. That's the best way to explain it. Okay, so here's where the movement speed craft is. So if you have 3 augments by this point and don't have move speed yet, you can go ahead and craft move speed here, which is what I'm going to do. I would have preferred to do it in the 3B boots, but unfortunately I wouldn't have had a green socket for smoke mine unless I picked up a vest, which I didn't want to do yet. What about Shadow over Witch? You can certainly play Shadow, and it's definitely viable in shorter races, I'd say, like Dominus. Anything past Dominus, I would just play Witch if I were you, honestly. But, I mean, it's really what you're more comfortable in. Shadow over Witch, yeah. Unfortunately, we have to mule and play Witch because she is faster. So yeah, I can't really give layout hits for this zone other than you just want to check your corners. I checked this bottom corner, I'm checking this top corner, and I got lucky, and this is where the entrance is. Do you have any idea of what you want to League Start as? Yeah, probably ED, Contagion, Spellslinger up until red maps, and then switch to CI, regular old ED, or anything past that. For Ancient Pyramid 1, the exit can only be in 4 locations, which is the 4 corners. So again, you're just going to check the 4 corners. That's the best way to do it. Is an Assassin better than Elementalist in mapping? I would say they're close, but I don't think it's... I wouldn't say better. Well, I mean, it might be better, like, late game, but not... Definitely not to, like, 80 or 85. This is mainly just, like, an explanation for shorter races, not, like, longer ones. Okay, so we found Vol. We're gonna want to do our wand crafts here. So I like to click the Dark Altar and then take all my gems off and get my topaz rings ready. And then go ahead and portal out and do my wand crafts here, which, like I said, you're gonna need 2 alterations, which we have, 2 rare topaz rings, or any other ring, I guess, and then 2 magic wands, and you're just gonna sell all that to the vendor. Boom. Big damage, huge damage. And then normally you can put your gems in the room, but I'm just like taking my time here and doing it outside the room. Just checking the vendor.
Remember to live.
But yeah, you usually want to do it in the balls room. Then you're just waiting for him to come up, so just mess around with your gear, figure out what you want. I'm gonna go ahead and essence that. You can pre-stack ball, so you just pre-stack, flame dash for your arcane surge proc, and unfortunately we didn't get an EO proc, so we couldn't get him lower. But then he goes down once, and usually if you have double wand craft, you'll just kill him right after that. Then log out after Vol. Then we go to Act 3. You need crit multi to make Assassin really pop off, which you won't get till later, like he said. So Act 5 or 10, really not worth versus EO Elementalist. Yeah, definitely agree with that. Witch is much stronger until like probably level 90 I would say. 85. Then assassin, unless you get like trade league gear or something like that. So Clarissa usually have like a standing up animation here, so I like to just kill mobs and pick up items and stuff while she's standing up. But that's just like XP min-max, like you don't have to do that. Okay, so first in the talent tree I said you were going to run a rush EO, which we did, and then right after that you want to rush Dark Arts, because Dark Arts is a really strong cooldown, recovery speed, and movement skills is really huge for racing. Cast speed is huge. Just everything in relation to this wheel is good, and then you get move speed on the left side. So usually the racing strat is everybody will just take the entire wheel, which is what we're going to do. Okay, so now that we're in Act 3, you want to start worrying about your resists, and you want to start worrying about getting your links for Lightning Spire Trap. So ideally you want like a blue, 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 a blue, blue, green, probably, or 4 links you want like a blue, blue, green, green, or blue, 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 green. There's a lot of different ways you can make it work. So that's what you need for links, and then just the Lightning Spire's Trap in general. You need 1 Chance Orb at some point before Dominus. Or, okay, at some point before you log out after Lunaris 2 is when you want the Chance Orb. Usually in like 9 out of 10 runs, probably even like 99 out of 100 runs, you'll get the Chance Orb before Lunaris 2. But I suppose there's occasionally some runs where you will not be very lucky and get screwed.
When you build something like this, you make persecution a way of life.
This zone, there's a handful of layouts as well. Not gonna explain them. I'm also not super good at them yet, so. That looks like a scary room. It's important while you're like going through zones as well to weave your movement skills, which is just going to take some practice and like doing it over and over and over to know how to efficiently use movement skills. Oh no, poor Tolman. Yeah, dude. Thanks for the follow, Astros, LOL. Okay, so you're going to kill Piety, get the bracelet, log out. Then take the keys from the vendor here. Usually if I don't have 2 resist rings and I have enough scrolls of wisdom. Oh, that chest is really good actually. I'm gonna keep it. I'll just sell it because it's not the colors that I want. But here's where I would usually buy a resist ring if I have enough scrolls of wisdom, which I do. Because this is when you can start getting 2 stone rings from the vendor and it just makes it safer. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And then you can either do this now or later. I prefer now, because usually I'll forget if I take this gem later, but you get conductivity as a curse. You can usually do it after you log out to turn in your Platinum Busts quest. But really, it's not that big of a time loss if you just take it there, which I do. Which I'll probably try to get out of the habit of doing because it's not the fastest way to do it. This is the part of the run usually where you just start like blasting. Like other than just worrying about what you want for your Lightning Spire Trap setup, you literally should know where you want to go in your skill tree, and then you just start zooming. That's literally the rest of the run pretty much. All the hard work's done. You figured out, once you figured out your socket links and stuff, it's pretty much just a zoom time. Do you have trials already? This is just an Act 5 race run, so we don't do trials. I'm just trying to explain like Act 5 racing for people who want to try to get into it, but feel a little daunted. Or feel like the learning process is daunting. Yeah, you don't run lab in an Act 5 race. Okay, so I'll do a quick layout explanation for sewers, because I think you can lose a lot of time in here. But it's not a huge deal. So the first bust will always be before the waypoint, so you always want to grab the first one before the waypoint, which is right here. And then after that, the second and third bus, if this one right here is in a big open room, that means that the last one is going to be up in this layout, up toward the exit here. But if it's in a small room like this, that means that the third bus is going to be down in a room bottom right over here, which it ended up being. Probably run through the zone a couple times to get comfortable with it if you need to. And then the exit's always just like top up here. I would do a league start explanation run, but I think there are people who are better than me explaining them, aka like Tai and stuff. You don't really need that waypoint, but I just clicked it out of habit. There's another zone where the layout's kind of complex and I don't know it very well. But the exit can either be up here at the top where I just checked. It can either be down here on the side where I'm about to check. Hello, she. You actually need that Jade Amulet? Yes, you do. The exit can either be here or it can be like way further down on the side, I think. You need the Jade Amulet early for Smoke Mine. But yeah, grabbing waypoints is kind of... You could identify this layout by checking the zigzag in the middle. Yeah, there's ways to identify it for sure. I'm just not like super comfortable with it, so I don't feel like giving the wrong advice or something. You bought that or found it? Yeah, I bought it in Act 1. Okay, so whether you go Solaris 1 or Lunaris 1, or sorry, Solaris 1 or Docks here will depend on your XP. If you're level 24, you can easily go to Docks, which I'm about to hit 24, so we're going to go to Docks. There's an argument where you can go Docks a bit sooner than 24, which I usually do, but I would just go at 24 since that seems to be the general consensus from like Tai and he's one of the best racers. So just don't go Docks unless you're 24, and then go Solaris 1 if you're under 24. In Act 1, the Jade Amulet costs a transmute. Fire res is pretty big in this zone, so you're going to want to play it safe, because those flamethrower dudes will absolutely destroy your health. Not going to lie, I've died to it a handful of times in runs, and it's not pleasant. Okay, so once you find the sulfite, you usually want to get to about level 25... 25 and a half, I'd say, is like super safe, but 25 minimum if you went Docks first before you even leave. I'm personally gonna just get like level 25 and a third or something like that. Maybe kill like one more blue pack. But if you get good XP here, it really helps you out later with setting up your XP, because you won't need to farm Dried Lake later on, which I'll explain. So my XP is pretty good now, and I already got the sulfite, so I'm gonna log out. And after you log out there, after Docks, this is when you will usually turn in your Platinum Bus quests, which is what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and sell all my rare items. Besides this, these are decent links for our Lightning Spire traps, so we're going to keep that. Alright, the goal here is to have probably 3 or 4 alterations after after Lunaris 2, which I will show later. I'm just randomly using Alks on rings and stuff to make my gear less bad. resist doesn't really matter a whole lot until like Lunaris 2, I'd say. As long as you're not getting hit. If you're gonna get hit a lot, I would pay a lot more attention to your resist than I currently am. I'm just comfortable with the zone, so I can play it a bit riskier. In a race scenario, for the talent tree here, you're gonna come down, and I would rush the resistance node if your resists are bad, and also this life, obviously, just to play it safe. Speedruns are different from races, and you could probably do a bit different setup, so you do much more damage, but probably a lot riskier because you can die easier. So yeah, main things to worry about in Act 3 obviously is going to be, like I said, having that chance orb for your lightning spire trap, and then also having enough alterations to buy your links for your lightning spire trap. Okay, this is a cool little trick for Solaris too. If you get the entrance like shaped like this, you can occasionally get the layout where you can just come up here and jump over and skip a large portion of it, which we ended up getting. But that doesn't always happen, and I probably wouldn't do that if your XP wasn't pretty good. So take that skip with a grain of salt. Oh, definitely don't open... Well, you can open boxes, you just have to play it really safe if you don't have freeze immunity. I always take the rare jade amulet here because you're going to need the dex, and then you take obviously the quest item. And this will always be an upgrade, so you can just wisdom that and lob it. Then immediately go to sewers. Oh, this is a cool little skip too that I didn't talk about earlier. This is kind of hard to pull off, and you need to be on attack without moving in your smoke mine, but if you come right up to this like corner right here, and if you get the right angle, you can throw your smoke mine all the way across to the waypoint. It's not that important, but it goes both ways. It's just like a little trick to save a few seconds. Don't really need to do it. I'm just used to doing it at this point, so. Yep, this is when you want to put in your conductivity as well. Or sooner when you hit level 24, I guess. Obviously, we're going to kill Gravicious because we want Lightning Spire Trap. So that's what we'll be doing. This is a very, very, very scary like mini boss if you don't have fire res, which I'm pretty sure I don't have a whole lot of. So always play that guy pretty safe if you can. No move speed, dude. Never lucky.
You wanted me burned back in Audius Gravicius.
Grab the big monk ass. Yes, he is very scary. In fact, you left a recipe over there. Yeah, you don't need it. Play grab safe, yeah. Especially if you don't have high fire res. So, Lunaris 2, I know everyone usually gets killed by the like missile slinging dudes. So obviously, once again, fire res huge here. If you have low fire res, I'm pretty sure it's fire damage. I hope I'm not wrong in that because that would make me sound dumb. But if you have low fire res, you really can't get hit at all by them, or you will literally die instantly. They're called titty bitches? Yeah, you can call them titty bitches too. But I was trying to be a little PG, dude. A little PG. Okay, look at my res here. I have 50 fire res, so I can probably get hit a little bit, but they're still very scary and can kill you very easily. As you see my health dropping. So just play it safe. Safe in races is always the strategy, boys. Always play safe in a race scenario. You cannot place top 5, top 3, top 20, top 50 if you're dead. Well, I guess if there's only 50 people, you can place top 50 if you die, but just saying. FIFA study? Yeah, that's a common emote right now. Lunaris 2 is also... Oh, okay. That's very scary when you get like a shrine like that with these mobs. Okay, Lunaris 2 is really, really hard to explain. And I probably... Honestly, I would just look up the video for it if you're super interested. But essentially, you want to just go until you find a staircase, and then there's 3 staircases up to like the main part of the zone, which is this. And then you always want to go the direction where there's only one cart in this, which is obviously this way. So we're just going to go that way. And then I think the general consensus here is to just go straight until you're forced to turn to find the second door. But I'm still not super good at it, so don't quote me on that.
3B1G.
Oh, 3B1G. Play like Steel if you are not Ty. Yes, but even Ty23 would play very safe in races. I believe when I watched his like VOD about racing, he said in races he would always take this life node early and he would always take this resistance node early. 3B1G is really huge, obviously, for our links later, which we will set up. I'll talk about XP a bit after I kill Piety, but usually just pre-stack, Arcane Surge proc, detonate. Shadow is going to do way more damage here than Witch would, so she's kind of scary. I might even die. Never mind.
Damn you.
Okay, you kill her and then you can log out usually. He also said to never open strong boxes in his final VOD. Yes, that makes sense. Does Wave of Conviction trigger Orb of Storms? No. I just use Wave of Conviction for the exposure, but it probably isn't realistic to get next league because of how Delirium's going away. So I probably wouldn't even take Wave of Conviction into consideration if you're thinking about next league starts and like practicing for races. Alright, so we got our 4-link here, which is huge. Can't use it until level 32, unfortunately. After Lunaris 2, you're going to come back to town. You're going to buy your Lightning Spire Trap, which we just bought from Clarissa.
Be careful.
And you're going to grab the skill point from Grigor. Then go back to Act 2. And this is when you wanted to save up all those alterations, right? Because you want to buy your support gems for your Lightning Spire Trap. I already have 4, which is good. So we are going to buy, since we have a 4-link, I usually put my Stormblast Mine on 4-link because it's just stronger in my opinion. Okay, this song is too dubsteppy. I usually put 4-link Stormblast because it's really nice because bosses will move out of your Lightning Spire traps a lot, and it's really irritating when they do that. So it's just easier to adapt to different situations. So for our 4-link for Stormblast, we're going to use Stormblast, LE Focus, Controlled Destruction, and then Trap and Mine. You probably want to use Lesser Poison, honestly, but I'm going to use Trap and Mine damage. Chip's probably going to flame me. And then we'll put our Stormblast in there when we hit level 32 and can actually use this. And then for Lightning Spire, since we have 3-link, we're going to do Lightning Spire Trap, Trap and Mine, and then Lesser Poison, I guess, since it's green, green, blue. Probably not super optimal, but just gotta adapt to what links we have. So it's important to buy all your gems here, because you're not gonna come back and buy them later, ever.
Be well.
You don't want to have to come back to Act 2 for the rest of the run, ideally, if you're trying to be fast. So just usually buy all your links now, try to have all the currency there so you don't have to do it later. And then after I buy gems, this is when I'll usually check my res and realize that it's a little low, and then this is where I just craft on random items. I'm just going to go ahead and Essence this belt, because why not? This is when I'll just figure out my resistances, try to get capped for the rest of the run, which we only need a bit of cold res and a bit of lightning res. I just got to find an open suffix. Just craft it on a wand, I guess. Boom, a res cap for the rest of the run. You don't really need to be rare greater than normal? Yes, definitely. You don't need to be res cap necessarily in an Act 5 run if you're like super confident. But obviously, like I said, the safe play is always the better play. So try to get your reses capped as quickly and easily as you can, or you'll have a rough time. Porcupines are obviously scary, so don't die to those. I think I went the wrong way. No, I didn't. Okay, a nice trick for this layout. So there's two ways this zone can go after you hit the waypoint. Usually you just follow the road to the waypoint. And we're going to rush towards Scepter of God, obviously, because we're not doing the trials or anything. So after the waypoint, Scepter of God can either be to the right, this way, or it can be up. So in this situation, I think usually when it's up, what will happen is the road right here will continue just straight up, right, to the entrance. But in this case, it doesn't. So that means we're going to go toward the right. At least that's the way I understand the layout. I could be wrong. Maybe somebody else can chime in, but that's how I've always understood this layout. And then you hit this road and you know you went the right way because Scepter of God is going to be right up here. Boom. Bottom path always leads to Scepter. Yeah, but you can also have a top path that leads to Scepter.
Must come down.
At least I'm 99% sure. For Scepter of God, at least, it's generally just checking four corners. For Scepter and Upper Scepter, that's all you're going to do. Just check the four corners. I'm sure somebody might know some secret strat to do this better, but as of right now, that's what I do at least. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about XP at all. Usually, bare minimum, absolute bare minimum, you want to be level 28 by Dominus, which usually means you want to be 27 in Lunaris 2 near the end. Like, that's bare minimum, though. Ideally, you want to be level 29 at Dominus, so you don't have to sit in Dried Lake for like 10 hours trying to farm XP. So, try to get 29 by Dominus. 28 minimum, so you can lose Lightning Spire. But I would say if you're not 29 or close to it, you probably did something wrong XPing. That doesn't always happen in every run, though. You're not going to hit 29 in every single run, unless you're like Havoc, who is a god gamer at XPing, so. So right here, we're just going to continue on to Dominus. In Upper Scepter, you can skip through these holes in the wall, but that's pretty min-max. Not really something you need to do. Havoc Pog. Yes, Havoc is very good at XPing. Probably the best player at XPing out of all the racers right now, I would say. Oh, that's unlucky.
Life is too precious to waste on you.
Again, we just checked all the four corners. I didn't check that top corner, but that's all you do in these layouts for the most part. And this top floor is always like set, like the tower rooftop is always going to be right here. Okay, and obviously we can't use this 4-link yet, so we're just going to have to use 3-link setups, which I'm just going to throw in for now because I have to be level 32 for the 4-link. But right now we're just use Trap and Mine, Lightning Spire, LE Focus, and then Swift Assembly, Storm Blast, Lesser Poison. You can pre-stack on this Lightning Girl because she's super annoying. And just blow them all up with the big damage. This point in the run is where picking up rares and currency usually doesn't matter. Oh. Usually does not matter at all, unless you need to fix something from earlier. So I don't usually pick up any items after this point. As far as tanking the Dominus stuff, you can tank his like lightning projectile attack if you have capped lightning res, and you can just heal up with a potion very easily. Health potion, flask, potion, same thing. Okay, usually I don't really wait
No one
to...
will cry for you,
Usually
Dominus.
near the end when he's about to die,
Not
you
a
can just stack
soul.
up a bunch of stuff and then kill him. And not actually wait for him to drop items, assuming you don't need any items for the rest of the run, which is what I normally do. But
That water
that's
just
like
reeks of
another one of those things where it only saves
see
you
where
like
it
2
comes
seconds,
from.
so it's not really that important, to be honest. Okay, and I think we were 29 at Dominus, barely, which is good. You want to be level 30 minimum before you leave Dried Lake. Usually like 30 and some change is good and the best scenario. So that's what we're gonna aim for before we leave Dried Lake.
Augmentation.
Is there any significant difference between the cold and lightning craft? Yes, early on people craft the cold craft because Frost Bomb applies cold exposure, and
That
I
would
believe
just make life
somebody did the
complicated.
math and it works out to more damage early on. Plus, using that, so early on you're gonna have that 1 blue gem and the 2 green gems. I like to use the 1 blue gem early so that for the level 20 craft I have 2 topaz rings. But as far as like, you're just scaling lightning damage later, so you want lightning damage to spells. Cold damage
I
to
have
spells,
seen the look in Piety.
you could do 1 cold, 1 lightning craft if you have to. You can also do 1 cold, 1 lightning craft if you're planning on doing like an elementalist run and you want to run Herald of Ice, which is usually what I'll do if we're doing a race that's longer than Act 5. I'll do 1 cold, 1 lightning craft if I can.
How do I keep ending up in such lovely places?
Honestly, like most of the time you're just gonna have to work with what you get, right? Like you're not always gonna get exactly what you want for the ring crafts.
I no longer
I
need
mean,
fear.
most of the time you'll get what you want,
Destiny
but
is
not
seen to
always.
that.
Okay, so we hit level 30 here, so our XP is really good. Like I said, you want to be 30 and some change before you enter mines. Ideally, could even be more than that if you want to be like pushing level 37 by Kitava. Here you just run around the zone until you find this tome or like story lore thing on the map. And then that's usually where my guy is. I pick up the quest item and then log out. For the talent tree now, we're at the point where we got to the Templar node, we got life. I usually pick up precision for the move speed and dex, which kind of might be greedy. You get light of the divinity, and then from this point on, it's kind of preference. If you're in a race scenario, I would honestly get Heart and Soul next to play it safe, to have like more life. If you want more damage, you can take Stormweaver, and if you get like way more XP than planned and you're like 37 plus you got Mine's 2 skill point, you can probably get all of that and then also get Amplify as well. In a race, I'll usually take Heart and Soul. In like a regular old practice run or speed run, I'll probably take Stormweaver here. It's really just like a safety thing. And then before you enter Belly of the Beast, also personal preference, I don't think Chip does it, but I like to take Mind Over Matter and then taking off Herald of Thunder just because it makes it way safer in Belly of the Beast 1 and 2. The puncture mobs can literally one-shot you if you get caught in a bad spot. And if you have Mind Over Matter, it really reduces the chance that you're just going to die instantaneously to those mobs. So totally would recommend Mind Over Matter before Belly 1 and 2. Not a requirement again, but huge suggestion in my opinion. For the rest of the run, these are generally layouts that I don't fully know yet, so I can't really input them a whole lot. Other than like combs and duressos. But like mines 1 and 2 I'm not comfortable with as much as I'm sure others are.
I think it likes me.
Generally you want to go for the skill point in this zone. Sometimes in a race I'll skip it if I really have literally no idea where it is, which I currently have no idea where it is. I think it's top right here actually. But I would recommend getting the skill point every single time.
So many more trap spirits in this
Unless you're
place.
literally pushing like top 2 and it's going to be the difference between you getting top 2 and not.
Chaos.
But yeah, like I said, for the rest of the run, after like Act 1 to 3, it's not really a whole lot of gems and stuff. You're just kind of going through the layouts as fast as you can, just paying a bit of attention to XP, but it's not super crazy important. I mean, it definitely is important, but not as much as it is early on, I would say. Usually all your gems are set and all your links are set, so yeah, usually just killing a monster fast, as I-23 would say. Smile. Can I say nice-u? There you go, I just said it. So yeah, before entering Duressos, you usually want to be 31. Preferably, if not higher, which I am higher, because if you're higher XP, you can usually just do the skips in here, if you know how to do the skips. I'll just do a quick like skip tutorial, I guess. Before you walk in the gate, there's 4 corners to this cage here. You want to smoke mine to the corner, and then after you smoke mine to the corner, it won't trigger the gates to close. And then you're gonna smoke mine or flame dash to the next gate. You can go as slow as you want. It's like almost always a time save if you go slow. Obviously, if you're really bad on XP, do not do that, or the run will be very bad for you. Being like level 34 at Kitava is awful experience. I might have messed this up. Okay, I didn't. I'm pretty sure this layout... I'm not even going to bother explaining Duresso layouts. It's not a very complex zone though. As I mess it up, smile. But yeah. Usually you can tell where the exit is based off where the unique monsters are. This big gate room is usually the tell that it's the last room, and you can obviously just run into it and not skip anything. Just gonna go towards Stormweaver because I'm confident and don't think I need Heart and Soul yet. Usually you're gonna want to do Duresso stream, get the waypoint in Grand Arena, and then come back and do Comb stream. Because of, I'm pretty sure the monster level in Grand Arena is higher than it is in Duresso's stream. Yep, so you're gonna lose more XP from XP penalty if you start doing Grand Arena immediately. I can go ahead and set up my
So this is what the
4-link
inside of a Karui king's
now.
head looks like. I hope they're not all like this.
I don't know why I said trap in mine earlier. For Stormblast mine, if you get a 4-link, it's going to be Stormblast, LE Focus, Controlled, Swift Assembly. I don't know why I said trap in mine damage earlier. I believe your Arcane Surge is misplaced. It is. Thank you for telling me. You want to link your Arcane Surge to Flame Dash. Isn't it the same with Comb, 37 then 38? Yes, I'm pretty sure. Thank you for telling me about my Arcane Surge. I can't believe I saw that. For this zone, for the double lava skip layout, the best way, or the easiest way to tell that it could be a double skip. Oh my god, this mob! I'm trying to explain things. Stop. Best way to tell if it could be a double skip layout is if this ramp right here is on the left side. That means that you could get a double skip layout. It's hard to explain. You have to run the zone multiple times. But essentially, you're gonna jump up here, and if it's the double skip, it'll go from this, and then there will be another like cliff right here that will elevation up, and then you'll know that you're in that zone, which I am not in, so we're not going to look for the double skip.
3B.
Out of you, Chip, Tai, and Dampen, then Doom, who do you think has kissed the most girls the most times? Probably Tai, to be honest. Actually, nah, Dead and Doom's too young. Definitely Tai. Chip, I don't think you have it all, dude. No claim. Yeah, so we got the one lava skip layout. This one doesn't save nearly as much time as the double skip layout. So it's hard to explain without practicing, but you usually just come up to this corner. You have to place your cursor in the right spot. Then you can just throw your smoke mine. I missed it the first time. And then it'll land up here. But you have to put your cursor in the right spot. And it's a bit hard to explain without practice. So if you want to learn that, go ahead and load up Combs Dream. It's a pretty big time save in Act 5 races, so I'd say it's probably worth learning. You can only really do it with Smoke Mine, Lightning Warp, Blink Arrow. I think Blink Arrow might work. I'm not entirely sure. Flame Dash doesn't work for that skip though. So Templar gamers, I am very sorry, but you cannot do that skip. Blink Arrow works? Yeah, I thought Blink Arrow worked, yeah. But you're not going to really be running Blink Arrow in races, but it's good to keep in mind if you're like doing a league start or whatever and you're playing a bow build. Leap Slam? Yeah, nope, sorry boys, no Leap Slam. We're going to grab Stormweaver here and then Mind Over Matter before Belly of the Beast, hopefully. Gonna want to kill my boy Comb, portal out, and then you can pre-place your cursor here to get to Grand Arena, but that's obviously not a very large time save. You can really pre-place your cursor for any time when you have to use a waypoint. I think the general strategy for Grand Arena layouts is to always go left if you can go left. In these hallways or whatever. At least that's what I do, and it seems to work for me every single time, so I don't think I've ever gotten lost in this zone. I think Dampen has most, he has a GF. True, honestly. Duresso is actually really scary if you don't have high cold res, so play safe on this boss for sure. I like to just stand close to him and then like pre-stack mines and flame dash behind him so you don't get hit by the mechanics. Like so.
I'm sorry to have
Again, you can portal out and then and then I usually grab my skill point here. You can grab it when you're going to Act 5 as well, which is probably a time save, but obviously you're not going to have that extra skill point going into Belly, so I don't know if it's worth or not. I'm going to take Mind Over Matter here, and we go Belly of the Beast. This is usually when I would start considering taking off Herald of Thunder so that we're tankier with Mind Over Matter, because these mobs are absolutely terrifying, as you can see already. And very rippy and will kill you many times in practice runs if you don't play safe. So now that I got that shrine, I'm probably just gonna run through the zone, so that helps. Belly of the Beast 1 and 2 are also rather complex layouts, and I think the best way to learn them is to probably just run through the zone a million times with like a Pathfinder, so I don't even know them very well. Pretty sure with the sledgehammer from getting over it, if you roll a +2 jump, you can make that skip. True, honestly.
I need more mana.
Oh man, these mobs. Honestly, like anywhere past Act 3 is just repetition and practice. Like, there's no secret strategy for Acts 3 through 5 really. Like, you already have all your stuff ready to go. You're just blasting, and it's a matter of just getting comfortable with the zones, getting comfortable with how often you need to actually go to town, getting comfortable with your damage and boss mechanics. That's really like just the whole thing for the rest of the Act 5 run. The run becomes really scary from Belly of the Beast onward, though, I would say.
Sister. It's not often we get to erase our failures.
Piety is very scary. Do not let her melee you. If Piety melees you, you're probably dead if you don't have mind over matter or very, very, very low.
Our mistakes can be our greatest achievements.
So obviously, other than getting meleeed by Piety, obviously dodge the beam. Like, I think you could probably survive one hit of the beam, maybe not even, but I wouldn't take the
It
chance.
seems I've underestimated piety. Good. I like surprises.
Slight min-max thing here. You can throw your smoke mine over to the right there, and then grab the waypoint, and then go over to your smoke mine. It's pretty min-max. Gonna go toward Hart and Soul now. I like to pre-throw my lightning spire trap so I can one-shot Shav, which hopefully I can actually do. Yeah. You grab the quest item after you kill her, then you would portal out. Since you grabbed this waypoint, you can actually portal out and come back to the zone. It's faster than running back. Doedry is pretty scary as well. I don't know the best way to do this boss, honestly. I would just say, like, constantly be moving and don't get hit, because if you get hit, you're obviously just dead. And don't get meleeed, especially. If you get meleeed by Doedry, it's a rough time. I actually don't think it's faster to portal out after the bottom left boss right there. I think it's faster to just run up to the third one. But I could be wrong. I think it'd be close. Depends on your load screens, I guess. Again, for Malagaro, we're just going to stack our mines up. Try not to get meleeed by him either. Oh, he moved. Because his melees also do a huge amount of damage. You can portal out after that guy and then go towards Malachi.
I have been expecting you.
Okay, so normally, where I was just at, you're going to want to sell all your currency and convert it to portal scrolls for the rest of the run, but I already have enough portal scrolls, so I didn't do that. But you can really do that before you start Malachi, after Malachi, really just whenever is... I think it might be most optimal after Malachi, but I'm not entirely sure. How do I have 13? Because I'm picking up way too much stuff because I'm explaining things, Chip.
I need more mana.
So yeah, there's no secret to this fight. It's just practice. One thing I will say though, for pre-placing mines and traps is really big. So Malachi has HP breakpoints, so at 75%, he'll go to his first heart. At 50%, he'll go to his second, and at 25%, he'll go to his third, and obviously he regens some HP after that. So you want to keep that in mind when you're pre-placing mines, and it's always in the same order. So we're going to kill him here, and then we're going to pre-stack on this one. Kill that heart. Then we're going to get him to 50. Okay, he's at 50, and then we're going to pre-stack on this one. Detonate. And then after that, we got to get him to 25%, which he is. Pre-stack on this next one. Boom, detonate. And then after this, you just want to kill him, obviously. Okay, you kill him, and then it's faster to portal out after this. and then run to the next zone. Taking off your chest is like super min-max. Probably saves like half a second, so I wouldn't recommend. I'm just used to doing it. Did you drop Frost Bomb for Spire Trap or never picked it up at all? You want to keep Frost Bomb until probably it's preference really. I usually keep it until after I finish all the bandits in Act 2 and then I drop it. But some people drop it even earlier. Some people drop it at like Vol but honestly I think it's really is up to personal preference, but I think it's easy. I think it's good to keep for much longer because it's easy to XP with Frost Bomb. And unless you need like the blue socket for an aura or something, it's really just much better to keep, in my opinion, at least. But I mean, you can try it out and do a couple runs and see when you like to drop it. Personal preference. But yeah, like I said earlier, we're not going to pick up any items anymore. Like we already have Capture Res, pretty much. We have all the links we want unless we drop a 4 link for the rest of the Act 5 runs. So don't pick up any items, don't pick up any currency at all. Just race, go as fast as you can through these zones. This layout's not too, actually all the Act 5 layouts are actually not too bad to learn and they can save you a bit of time, so obviously you have some time. If you have some time, I think they're worth practicing a bit. Kill that dude. I usually just rush to that dude and kill him and then go to the tower. I don't need the request reward ring. Usually you could get a ring from Lani here. Lani. But I don't need it because I'm already capped res, so we don't really care about that. No one usually does the skill point in an Act 5 race that you can do in the top left there. But I'm sure it might be, no, actually I wouldn't get it all in an Act 5 race, to be honest. That one extra skill point isn't going to get you anything that's like game changing, I'm pretty sure, so just skip it in an Act 5 race or anything shorter. Actually, have they done any race that's like Act 6 or 7? I've never seen that. But, I don't know. Oh, levels. Yeah, we gotta talk about XP now. For Act 5 XP, okay, so there's multiple ways to do it. I think bare minimum for Kitava is 34. But safest is obviously 37, plus level 37 gives you an extra lightning spire trap level up, so I think that's usually what Havoc does in every single run. Literally every single run I think he goes to 37. Bare minimum 34, but anywhere from 34 to 37 when you get to Kitava is perfectly fine. So just make sure when you like get to harvest you're almost 34, I would say. Actually, yeah, late 33, early 34 is probably good for harvest. If you're going for 37, I'd probably say like 34 for sure, maybe even a bit more. Quantric did 40 thoughts. That's just over XPing. That seems like a waste to me. I mean, if you're playing it like insanely safe, maybe. But you don't need that. If you can kill Kitava at level 34, you don't need level 40. So yeah, this is probably what your skill tree is going to look like at this point. I'm probably going to get one more level, I imagine. I'll just probably put it in, I don't know, LE damage or something. But if you get any extra skill points from anywhere else in the run for some reason, or you get extra levels, you could probably get Amplify here. Or if you want to be like super safe, maybe go toward Quick Recovery, but I doubt you'll have enough skill points to get Quick Recovery fully. So
Chance.
not really something I would consider in an Act 5 race. This is usually your standard life pool at this point. You're going to be about mid 700s life unless you get really lucky. Maybe even less. It varies on a run-to-run basis, obviously, but obviously in Act 5, if you get hit by just about anything, if you get stunned in a pack of mobs, you're probably dead. So just doing several Act 5 runs and getting comfortable with the move, like being able to move precisely so you don't die, and weaving your movement skills so it's not risky at all, is always the safest play. For Chamber of Innocence, because I messed this layout up in the Act 5 race we did when I was like 5 seconds behind Kitava, or sorry, Havoc. Usually you want to just go up as much as you can and then left as much as you can until you hit this right here. This staircase right here is the indication that you've gone the right way. So you hit this staircase, then you keep going left. And at this point, I'll usually go right and down as much as I can. And then eventually, when right opens up enough, you'll get to the point where you're next to the entrance to the boss room, which is right here. And then you'll obviously start Innocence. He phases at 50% health and then 0% health, and then again at 66%, 33%, and then... Or wait. 66%, 33%, yeah, and then he dies. I don't know why I misheard that. Ain't stressing, thanks for the follow, dude. There's 10 waves in each Innocence phase, 10 waves of ads, which I didn't count for this one because I was talking. But yeah, so that's, you want to count them usually so you can pre-stack your mines. Sometimes you'll just get unlucky and the boss will move a lot and you'll just get screwed over. It's just the name of the game. So obviously we're going to get to the 66% here, phase him. Sometimes he gets stuck in animations. And then I'll count out the waves. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then this is when I usually start pre-stacking my mines. See, if you pre-stack and you get a good pre-stack because you counted the waves out, you can basically instantly phase the boss. So counting the waves is really important on Innocence. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think 9. Just gonna start throwing stuff. Okay, and then he dies. Is Lesser Poison the best support for Spire Trap, or is it somehow irrelevant? No, it's not. It's not the best at all. It's just what I happened to end up with gear-wise. I ended up with green, green, blue for my Lightning Spire. I think a big thing with racing is being able to adapt to what gem links you have. Obviously, for a 4-link, we want something to like blue, 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 green for Lightning Spire. Blue, 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 blue is good. 3 blue, 2 blue, 1 green. Those are the most optimal setups to use for Lightning Spire. With 3 blue, it would be Ellie Focus, Lightning Spire, Controlled Destruction. With 2 blue, 1 green, I like to use Lightning Spire, Ellie Focus, Trap and Mind Damage. With 4 blue, Ellie Focus, Controlled, Lightning Spire, and then added Lightning Damage. And then if you get 4B, 1G, I think I already said that. 2B, 2G, I think you would probably just use Storm Blast in. But like I said, you always want to put Storm Blast in your 4-link over your Lightning Spire Trap, at least in my opinion. I think Chip shares the same opinion as me, but I think it might be personal preference. If you get 2 4-links in an Act 5 race, you're lucky as hell. That usually never happens. So I would just plan on getting 1 4-link and then aiming for the colors that you want for Stormblast over Lightning Spire. Nice in-depth explanation. Thanks. Yep, no problem. Did you say same or different? What do you mean, Chip? But the only 4-link you really want to use Lightning Spire in for sure is 4B. 4B, you always use Lightning Spire. I would say in the average Act 5 run, same opinion or different opinion? Same, I think I said. Yeah, me and you have the same opinion. That Stormblast is the better 4-link to use than Lightning Spire Trap.
What magnificent monuments to
Unless you get 4 blue.
Absurdity. Yet it is somehow aspirational.
For I could explain the Lightning Spire trap, or sorry, the Stormblast links, but I think it might be pretty self-explanatory. I guess I can explain them. I might even like make like a little notepad thing for it. But for Stormblast 4 links, blue, 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 green is obviously going to be Stormblast Mine, LE Focus, Controlled, and then Swift Assembly. 2 blue, 2 green, I think would be Stormblast, LE Focus, Swift Assembly, and then either Trap and Mind Damage or Lesser Poison if you really, really hate the throw speed of Trap and Mind Damage. Other than that, yeah, those are the only colors you really want for Stormblast. 4B is different. 2B, 1G is Stormblast, LE Focus, Swift Assembly. And then I think I already talked about that at the start of the run though, so I'm not going to re-explain that. But yeah, in Act 5, after you enter Ruin Square, you're just going to rush to Ossuary, get the Sign of Purity, go ahead and log out after you get it. And then other than that, you just go toward Kitava, which is the scariest fight of the run, so also the scariest zone of the run. So you have to play pretty safe doing it. So we didn't hit 37, but obviously 37 is going to be safer, and we get that extra Lightning Spire Trap level up. Not required in an Act 5 run. Like I said, anywhere from 34 to 37 is good. Holy shit, I'm gonna die. This is what I mean by this zone is scary as hell. You can just get chain stunned. Path of Math with the big raid. Oh, you raided me at the end of the run, dude. I just did an entire explain everything run. But thanks to the host, I appreciate it, dude. It's just unfortunate timing. Hey, thanks for the follow, Jakey Boy and Gab. Well, take it to Act 10. I can't. I've already fucked it. Okay, so for Kitava, you definitely cannot get hit by literally any mechanic or you will die. So just keep that in mind. Like, any single mechanic insta-kills you against this boss. If you have portals, you want to portal out as much as you need. I'll tell you when I usually portal out a lot because it's pretty important. Why is he not phasing? Oh, I thought I broke the H3 threshold. But yeah, he has HP thresholds where he'll phase out, which it takes some time to get used to. But so this first Hart phase is usually when I'll pre-place a portal. This unique monster is what you're scared of. Obviously, I one-shot it because usually if you have a 4-link, you'll always one-shot that unique monster. But if it flicker strikes you a bunch, you can die very easily. I might die. Oh, never mind. If it flicker strikes you, you can die extremely easily. So definitely be careful of that. Okay, this second Hart phase is when there's 2 unique monsters, so it's super sketchy. Again, we might have so much damage that it's not sketchy, but So first you want to dodge that slam that he does, that I just dodged, and then he's going to teleport to you a bunch. Again, we killed the Hart very fast because we have a ton of damage, but if it gets scary and he flicker strikes you a bunch, just portal out as often as you need to not die. And then you just get Kitava to 50% health here, and he's dead. And yeah, Act 5 runs over. Or you can die, sure. If you want to just chain die. But in hardcore races, obviously you can't do it. Yeah, and then the run's over. I'm curious what time I got. 1 hour, 37 minutes. That's hilarious. So yeah, even with me talking all that time, and the new PB. Yeah, even with me talking all that time and explaining, I got 1 hour and 37 minutes, which is probably 20 minutes slower than my normal run. So that's like proof that you can, if you know what you're doing and you prepare ahead of time, you can easily get like sub 1 hour 45 minute Kitava just by like doing a couple practice runs, just getting familiar with the run. So yeah, just practice makes perfect. I'll always say that in these runs. The more you practice, the better you'll be. There is no secret to getting better other than just practicing the video game. Alright. Slash dance? Does that even work in this game? Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, but that was Act 5 run race explanation. I'll probably upload